Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo. Big moves, my rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make you.
Hey, the Marie TV family. So before we get started with the review, I just want to tell you that the TeaV Deets numbers are out, and I'm calling bullshit. It took them till Thursday to release these numbers, and I believe it's because they're changing them. Something has changed in the way that they're calculating these numbers. I don't care what they say. It's something happening in the background with the numbers, and that's why it's taking so long for them to get these out. These normally would come out Tuesday morning, and now we're getting them later and later, week over week. So they dropped this week another 3,000 viewers. So it went from 269,000 to 266,000. And I just don't believe that at all. I think that it dropped a lot more, and I think that they're challenging how they calculate their numbers, and so TeaV Deets is probably adding in some additional ways to view the show. That's just my opinion, it's my thought. I feel that there's something that's shifting that's taking so long, and that's what I think it is. So what do y'all think? Do you think these numbers are legit, or do you think it's taking longer to release them because they're trying to force TeaV Deets to calculate them differently? I'm just saying, like, as soon as he says the viewership goes through the roof with all these new viewers, and where he got 4 million, I have no clue. But all of a sudden, it's taking them forever to calculate the numbers. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. So let's get into the review. We're going to be reviewing season 8, episode 11, Nell-Raiser of Love and Marriage Huntsville. So let's get into it. So the first scene is with Marceau, and they're introducing Marquez, which is Trisha's husband. Ken is her live-in boyfriend, side dude, whatever you want to call it. And then Marquez is her actual husband. Legally, they are married. They've been separated for some time, and so he wants to come in to speak with Marceau about that. Now, again, this is a scene that's being filmed in black. Black is empty. There are no other patrons in there, and I'm really getting tired of seeing scenes in Love and Marriage Huntsville where there's nobody else around. When this show first came out, when they filmed, they would film around other, people in the community. It would be people in the restaurants. It'd be folks in black. And now all of a sudden, everywhere they film, it's just the people that they're filming with the empty, restaurant or venue. It's crazy. But they're going in black. They're the only two there sitting at the bar, and they're talking about Marquez and Trisha's relationship. And he's talking to Marceau. Marceau says he didn't even realize that Marquez was Trisha's husband. Now, if you remember when Martell and Trisha were at the gym, they were talking about her husband used to work with Marceau at the theater, and they used to throw the parties with the girls. So I really don't believe this story at all. I think these are people who have been long-standing friends of Marceau, and he's also probably friends with Martell, considering they all used to patronize the parties at the theaters with the girls together. And I believe that this season has definitely been a way for Martell to hold on to his job. They could not film Ariane, and so they had to bring in new people to allow him to film, since he can't film with Mel. What was he going to do, and what was he going to talk about? Martell's main purpose in life right now is getting everyone to be like him, so he is not left alone on that island, that cheaters island, that side chick island that he lives on. So everyone that is brought on the show now is a situation about adultery and side chicks and side men, because that makes him feel better. Now he's not alone. Carlos gave him other people to film with, gave him a storyline, also put a whole bunch of mess and nonsense in our face. Also, he could pacify Martell Holt, who was convicted of revenge P, and his children said that he hits on them. His children said that he ABs them. And this is how they're going to go out of their way to reward that man and that behavior. It's sickening. It really is. It's sick. In addition to that, they have Marceau talking to Marquez, and he's making a good point. All of the points that he's making is really good. If you are a man and you split with your family, you not only divorce the woman, or you don't only leave the woman, you leave the children as well. If the woman decides to date someone else, that person is going to be around your children, and if they're good people, they're going to start to fill some of those holes that you left wide open. Okay? They're going to play the role of father if you're not there to play it. They're going to attend events with the mother if you're not there to attend those events with her. That's something that people should consider before splitting up. However, staying in a relationship for children doesn't work. It doesn't work. If you're going to be in a relationship, it needs to be because you're wanting to be with the person, not because you need to stay for children. But your children should be a significant consideration that you take in when deciding what am I going to do to work on this relationship before I leave. So I agree with everything Marceau is saying. I just don't agree with the messenger, because you can also have fathers who stay in the household with the mother, not treat them right, cheat on them. The children are there when the father's not home and he should be. The children are there seeing the mother cry. The children probably overhears the mother talking to her friends and family about how the father is treating her, even though the father is still technically in the household. When he's staying out all night, partying, got side chicks, ain't treating her right, don't never support her or defend her. Kids actually take that in too. Now, are you there to attend events? And do they have a different experience because you're actually there in the home? Yes, they do. It is a different experience, but the other behavior can cause harm just as well. And we know Marceau is like that with his children. We also know that Marceau don't pay no attention to his children. He does not put forth any effort into his children. He has always said that's Tisha's job, period. So in his mind, you just have to be there. And who knows where this stems from? Maybe there was a time period in his childhood where his dad left. When the father leaves the home, there is a feeling of fear, insecurity. It causes a lot of damage in children and the spouse when the father leaves the home, because the father is the protector. The father is the person who makes, supposedly the majority of the money. Now, we cannot just sit here and throw traditional roles on black families, okay? Because a lot of black families, the woman makes more money, period. We are not structurally set up the way people in other cultures are. Sometimes, a lot of times, often our households are structured different. And that comes from systemic racism and the things that we as a culture have to deal with that other races don't. So bottom line, a lot of women can financially hold it down if the father leaves, if they have structured their shit right and they're not tied into the man and allow the man to have access over their money. You have to both be involved in managing your money, or you have to keep your money separate so that you do not commingle funds, and when they fuck up, it does not bother you. That's the way that people protect themselves in today's society. With 60% of people divorcing, I completely disagree with sharing one bank account with your spouse. That's craziness to me. If you're telling me my relationship has a 60% chance to survive, and I've already been through relationships prior to getting married, and we know that when you enter a relationship, that ain't the same person you exit the relationship with. When you marry somebody that is not the same man you divorce, you don't even be knowing them motherfuckers. You can't even recognize them. Two totally different people. So move that way. Move accordingly. Don't just be all about love and what it should traditionally be set up as. Today, we're operating in a society where women have to protect themselves. You have to. It's just the way it is. So that any event that this person does leave you, you're not left destitute. You have enough put up so that you are not blindly destroyed financially because they've decided to switch things up. Have a nest egg, have a backup. And if you are going to get into another relationship with a man, I would hope it's someone who loves and respects and cares for your children. But I would also hope that you would liaison a conversation between your ex and your current husband to let it be known, this is what it's going to be. This is how we're going to move. If you want to do certain things and you don't want the new man to do it, then you need to be there to do those things. If you're not there, the other guy can do it. That's if you can't communicate. Oftentimes, when you split up, there is no communication because y'all feuding and y'all fighting. So I completely understand that Marquez may feel, I don't want another man taking on that role in my household, but bruh, you left. And you do want another man picking up the slack and doing the things that you can't or won't do, because that's for the best of your children. That benefits your children. What you can do as a man is allocate time and make time for you to also share space and time with your children so you can develop your own memories and have your own things that you do with your kids. What Ken does is not preventing you from doing anything. You can step in and pave your own lane, but you're not willing to do that. You're solely focused on Trish and what they're not doing. Now, again, I believe that this is all made up bullshit. I do not believe that this is like a real thing. It feels off to me. It really does. It feels off to me. I think this is something that they concocted and came up with to throw on the show. It does not feel genuine. I could be on my own feeling that way, but I just do not feel like this is a genuine story. I don't feel like these people are authentic. I believe that they were brought in for a particular reason because it works for Stormy and Martell, and Stormy and Martell are trying to come up with anything to take the limelight, so to speak, off of Mel. His confessional, Marceau does what he does a lot, is bring Mel up for no reason in scenes that has nothing to do with her. And he said that in this situation, he felt like Marquez is the Mel of his situation. And for a minute, I was just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why are you throwing Mel up in there? I was trying to like figure out why he would do that. Nobody really knows why Marceau does what he does. I think he tries to antagonize Mel just so he can get close to her and she can go off on his ass. But I was like, is he saying that Mel has to be the person who is grateful to the side person because they help their kids when they're at their dad's house? So is he saying that Mel should be thanking Ariane because she cooks for her kids when the kids are at Martell's house? Or is he saying that Marquez said that Ken was talking to Trisha before he left? So I'm not sure if Marceau was saying because Ken and Trisha were involved before Marquez decided to leave the situation, he's related to Mel in that way, in that Martell was with Ariane before Mel decided to leave the situation. Either way it goes, it's not a good comparison, and he should have left Mel out of that all the way together. But y'all tell me what y'all think he meant by that, because I was confused by it. I'm really not sure, but those are the two scenarios that I can come up with. What did you think he meant by that? So, overall, it's one of these mediocre type love and marriage Huntsville scenes that we've been seeing all season. I'm not in love with this particular storyline. I don't know. Other people may feel it. It's just really not something that I'm in because I really don't believe it's genuine. Now, the next scene is my girl Mel, and she's in the backyard with Nell, and Nell's coming over to talk to Mel about the kids wanting her to go to counseling. It was a decent scene, you guys. I love any time that I can see Mel. I feel like, though, it just felt thrown in there, like they just plugged her in, and I felt like they plugged her in because the ratings were dropping. If you guys noticed, the ratings dropped almost 40,000 viewers this week. And then really late in the week, they started rolling the clips on, Instagram and Facebook they started rolling the Instagram clips of Mel having this scene with Nell. And I think it was really because people were openly saying they ain't watching this. If they ain't playing Mel, we not watching. And they were fearful because the ratings were dropped. I feel like it was a good, decent scene and conversation, but Mel has been a part of so many complex, deep kind of scenes. She has deep relationships with these people. And I think this just seemed like it was just thrown in there out of nowhere. If that's not the case, and that's just kind of how I felt. But Mel gave Nell good advice. You know, she was telling her to go to therapy. You know, a lot of times Black people don't go to therapy because it's not something we've experienced. And Nell was kind of taking it as the therapy is just going to be for her to work through her issues. And even though that may have been how they presented it to her, when you get to therapy and everybody's talking, the therapist is not just going to pay attention to Nell. He's going to pay attention to Chris and each of those kids individually, and they're going to work through what those issues are. So overall, yes, it's going to be beneficial because they can get an outside opinion about the dynamic between not just Nell and everybody else, but other people can get an opportunity to see how they're contributing to the overall problem. These kids and Chris are contributing to the stress of Nell because she's probably the primary breadwinner. Being a person who used to sell real estate myself, your income it's you know, up and down, ebb and flows. If the market's good and things are popping, great. If it's not, you better have to manage your money well. So it just kind of depends on what's happening and if it's a good market and if you're selling well at the time or you have buyers. So I think the stability, the financial stability definitely comes from Nell when you're talking about the family. But Chris by far contributes as a broker. This man contributes to his household and he has a significant income. My thing is, it sometimes in real estate, it's not as consistent. I think the family's going to be surprised that when folks are always thinking, oh, it's you, you the problem, you the one, you the reason things are happening, you the reason it's going that way, it rarely ever turns out that way. It rarely ever turns out that way. As a woman, if your mother's telling you as a grown adult that you guys are overextending her and she needs you to get your stuff together and you just feel like, oh, well, I don't want to hear what you have to say, I'm gonna go to dad. No, it doesn't work that way. There's accountability that is going to be addressed by Dr. Francis, because we know Dr. Francis don't miss much. I love Dr. Francis. He's going to catch kind of what's happening with all of them and bring it in. I really like the fact that Mel kind of, you know, made her feel at ease about getting the counseling. And I also love the fact that we're able to see Mel in a mentor type of role with her because it shows the friendship, right? She's not just Mel's mentor. Mel mentors her as well. They're friends. And this is kind of, we're getting to see kind of the meat of their friendship without the guys being involved. It's just her and Nell. But I just wish I felt like this wasn't thrown in there to get the ratings up. That's just me. So the next scene is Nell, Chris, Dr. Francis, and all the kids. So you have Lance, Chris Jr., the niece Kiki, and then Kayla. And they're there and they're having their first session with Dr. Francis. And essentially Nell is basically, she's tapped out. They borrowed so much money from her. They're not paying her back. And she wants them to pay her money back because financially it's harming her. You know, she has things that she needs to take care of and they're going into her pocket constantly because they need bail money, they need money for rent, they need this, they need that, and she is tired of providing for them. She wants them to be adults and stand up on their own. Now this is something I can 1000% relate to, and it's not so much, I don't have adult children, but it's just loaning money to people, period. You have this feeling that you want to help people, you know, you feel like, okay, they're in need right now and you just want to be helpful, you know, and you believe people when they tell you they're going to pay you back, or at least I did. This is something I'm going through right now. So I'm learning, you know, to say no, but it's a difficult thing because, you know, you just believe that they're going to pay you back and they don't. So it's not something that, I think it's snowballed. It's kind of an avalanche effect. It probably started out small and then the loan started getting bigger, the problem started getting bigger, and it's exploded on her. I think Nell's a really good mom. I think she holds her family down. I think she's a good wife. I think that she is going through things that are just normal. They're normal, period. This is stuff that a lot of people go through. Not everyone is somebody who can say no. Not everyone very easily. It's something that you're learning, but you have to at some point learn how to say no. And that's just me. That's where I am. I have to just say no. It's no middle ground with it. You gotta just say no. If you don't say no, you only give what you can 1000% give and you don't need back. I think that she's told all her kids everything they need to know not to end up in the situations that they're ending up in, and that's why they're going to Chris. I think Dr. Francis is going to point this out. I think he's going to call out that Chris needs to open his mouth and step up and support his wife more. They're going to Dad because they can tell Dad all the problems. He ain't gonna say nothing. He ain't gonna get in their ass. And then Dad can tell Nell, and then Nell's the person who has to financially bail them out because Chris can't give them a large sum of money without Nell's permission. So I just feel like a lot of understanding is going to come out of this. A lot. It's going to be understanding on the kids' part, on how they play a role in this and how they need to grow the hell up and stand on their own 2 feet. You're talking about Chris Jr. is going to be 30 in November. So, come on. These are not young kids. Kayla's the youngest. You have Lance, who I think is like 32. And I don't know how old Kiki is, but they're old. These are not kids. These is like grown ass adults. They should have their shit together by now. And so they're going to have to start taking care of themselves. Kayla, I believe, is the only person that's still at home at this time. The rest of them have their own places to live. They have their own jobs. Lance has his own company. These kids should be taking care of themselves, and unfortunately they're loaning money out to everybody. Chris just did an interview with Dustin that said that before the Lexi blow up, he had loaned her money, her and her husband money, him and Nick, to help them open their CBD business, and then she blows up on him and now she ain't talking to him, so they ain't getting paid back on that one either. So these are kind of the manipulative games that these kids are playing because they feel like, oh, you guys have it. And that's not cool. It's not cool. So they are lending out money, buying cars, helping businesses for all the kids, Lexi included. Just because she's not sitting there does not mean they did not get her a car. They did not give her money for her business. He did not pay child support the whole time. And they still wanted stuff on top of that. Everybody's just out for what they can get. And they're going to have to shut down. Chris and Nell together are going to have to hear their problems out. Hear your kids. Let them speak all day long. But at the end of the day, the answer has to be no. I cannot loan you any money. I do not have it. I am in debt. I am trying to get myself out of debt so that I can ensure I'm able to take care of myself. So no, I hear you. I'm sorry you're going through that, but I can't do anything for you. And that's what it's going to have to be. It's not an easy lesson. I know it's a struggle that happens across gender roles, across, socioeconomic status, across racial lines. I mean, this is things that white people, black people, Hispanic people, everybody deals with this. Everybody deals with it because, let's just be honest, everything right now is super high. People have all these expectations and wants because they see things in their face every day with Instagram, Twitter, X, all the time. They just want. And nobody in this day wants to put in the hard work. So this is a unique struggle that we're dealing with right now because never before have people been so enticed and so marketed to purchase things and buy things and live a certain kind of way. It's in their face every day, but they have not built up to salaries and incomes that can afford those things. And so if their parents have stuff, they're reaching out to them to get it. And it's unfortunate. So hopefully Dr. Francis will help the family. He will help Chris Sr. be a better husband to his wife and just support her more. You know what I'm saying? Stop being the good cop and letting her take the hit for being the bad cop, because really she's the cop, period. Because she's the one holding the bag and she's the one helping them out of their shit. Yes, she screams and hollers about it, but if she was not there and could not do that, where would any of them be? So next they pick back up with Dr. Francis and the Fletchers, and essentially Dr. Francis is saying to Nell, listen, you have to stop raging at the kids so much and hear them out. And she does. She has to stop cutting them off. She has to let them speak. She needs to listen to them. The main thing Nell and a lot of women in the world need to do is just learn how to say no. She can listen all day long and she just has to say no. What's more important than anything is knowing that they can come to her to talk about anything so that they do not close down, that the kids know that she loves them. They want to
be loved and validated. The funny thing is I find it odd that Dr. Francis, he did it in a roundabout way by saying your mother's raging so that you don't see that she's delicate inside. But I wish he had have just basically said she wants the same thing too. She's expressing and openly expressing that she's afraid, she's running out of money, they're not changing their behavior. She's concerned about the financial status of her family, which is causing her physical illness. Like, she's stressed. She deserves that same consideration. You know what I'm saying? Yes, she needs to say those things to her kids, but they should be saying how they love and respect and how grateful they are for her as well. Because without Nell and his family, I think it would be a massive hole in this unit. Massive. It's clear that this woman does a ton, and most women do. But I just feel like we never get the credit for all the shit we have to hold down all the damn time. And it's just frustrating. I think Dr. Francis is going to be good for them. I think they should keep going. I love this scene. This is real to me. This feels real. It feels authentic. It is something that I feel like mirrors kind of the dynamics that we used to see with Mel and Martell when you were just looking at real shit. You know, from the moment these people sit down at that table, I felt like it was genuine and it was real. I do not feel that with this next scene. Trish and Marquez, no. This is crazy to me. And I'm not really going to spend too much time on it because I don't really believe it's legit. And I feel like this. When you want to get divorced, you get divorced. I don't care nothing about nobody asking you gonna pay half on it or not. If he was an upstanding man who was about his shit, he would have been the guy divorced. and if she was a real ass woman about her shit, she would have really been the guy divorced. I just feel like they both don't want to, and they have not wanted to until now. I think it's just something neither one of them wanted to pull the lever until now. Because I don't care if somebody's telling me, oh, you gonna have to pay $400. You ain't gotta ask me twice. I was gonna do that shit anyway, because I'm not waiting on nobody to help me do nothing. I'm good. I got it. You ain't gotta ask me, am I gonna pay half on nothing? The divorce papers, when I got divorced, I filed that shit. I didn't ask him for nothing. Done. Served as well. I ain't never gonna have to ask a motherfucker for $400. That just ain't me. That ain't how I move. And furthermore, we getting divorced, I ain't asking you for shit. Because if I've decided to divorce you, I decided I don't need you. And that came with some analysis, and my financial analysis included. So, no, she didn't have to split nothing with him, and she shouldn't have to go get it from Ken. Is a sucker, getting played all day long on national television. It's just a lot of weak men on this show, and that's why I just don't have no respect for it. You know, Carlos King could have found some decent quality people to put on television, but he, like a lot of other men in powerful positions in this industry, they like to show the flip side of heterosexual relationships. They like to show the negative about it because maybe they haven't experienced the positive about it, or maybe they haven't experienced it all because they're not heterosexual. But oftentimes I'm starting to see that people in powerful positions that are men, that are black men who are making films, they love a struggle, infidelity, cheating, backstabbing situation to be displayed about black relationships. And that is not how all of our shit moves. A lot of us are in healthy, loving relationships, taking care of our families and our kids. We live pretty decent lives that can get boring because it's just so, it ain't none of all this drama going on. But we have things that are real, like loaning money to kids like the Fletchers. That's why that resonates. It's just a real conversation. They have enough going on that we can follow and look at without them having to throw in the whole side chick conversation that came from Martell. It's always just this negative bull. You know, this is a couple that's been married 30 years. It's silly. It's just really silly. But that's the spin that Carlos King and Martell chose to put on their relationship. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like this is what we want to see. We want to see real conversations with their family. And I want to see that kind of grow. I know that Lance had did a post, and the post kind of gave a hint at a spinoff. I wouldn't be surprised by that, and I would watch it because I enjoy the conversations and the dynamics of the Fletcher family. I really do. I wish Mel could get her own show so that we could see the dynamics of her running all her businesses and see everything that she does, because that to me is Black excellence. But until then, we're stuck with the Trisha story. Did she sleep with Martell? She got a side dude. She have her husband she ain't divorced from. Then you also have the Sonny and Moses situation, and that story is eventually going to die. And so for me, that story should be wrapping up, that storyline. So we'll see. I would prefer to see things about Sonny and Moses, them buying a new home, IVF. You know how many people struggle with IVF? Those are the things that I want to see. I'm ready for that to transition as well, and for us to get away from the side chick, side dude storyline that works for Martell and get back to what it's supposed to be, which is Black excellence. They need to get the fake storylines off. Destiny has no reason to be on here. Stormy ain't doing shit. She ain't talking about herself. Maurice and Kimmy ain't did shit all season but sit down and eat. Tisha and Marceau aren't doing anything, you know? So it needs to be a 3-part divide. To let the Fletchers go their way, let Mel go her way, and then the rest of them can have a show together. But Mel should keep, if she wants to, she should keep Love and Marriage Huntsville and let the rest of them start their own, you know, show. What we've seen thus far this season, I'll give them that. I think it's sitting at about a 5 or 6, but definitely I need to see more of Mel. I need to see more of Mel's storylines. I need to see more of Mel doing her business. I need to see that. And so we'll see how it improves next week. Tell me what y'all think. Did you enjoy the show? What did you think about the different scenes? Do y'all think Trisha and Ken's story is real? Y'all think this is real or made up? And it was brought on for Stormy and Martell. And do y'all think Trisha slept with Martell? I do. Just because she said she went to the house, you know what I mean? What you doing at the house? Or did she say, I thought one time she said she did go to the house, and I thought another time she said she didn't. And if anybody else heard that, let me know, drop it in the comments, because I believe she did an interview or she was talking to somebody and said she did go to the house. Then she just said she didn't. So in the clip, I don't know, but if he sent out a message to her, and she went, I think they did something. I think they hit. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell. I'm getting kind of messages from people saying that they're not getting notices when I release my videos. So if you are even subscribed, check the notifications that tells you if you are on all of my posts. So, because I want you guys to see the videos, but a lot of people aren't getting notified when I release them. So do a double check for me. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even if my feelings grind don't stop. Got big dreams.